if you don't want to get married to them? Or
no,
not
at all. Maybe I should have framed that the other way, but
my partner, I certainly hope so.
Okay. I feel like you said a few things like, I don't care if she's funny, I don't care if she has personality, which is totally fine, I think you said bland.
The funny thing,
you said
yes.
You like a boring girl.
I think you said bland, but I just, I am wondering, like, is respect you feel for your partner? I think this might play into the smart thing. Like, I feel that I am most respected when someone understands my intelligence. So is the person you see yourself with long term a smart intellectual that you respect?
She need not necessarily be smart or intellectual. I don't have anything against. I've dated women who are. Let me finish. I've dated women who I would say are smarter than me. In fact, I'd honestly say that the previous girl I dated she's a PhD studying like brain, something with the brain, like probably at least on book wise smarter than me, more intelligent than me. Okay. Perhaps in other facets I'm more intelligent than her, but I'm open to dating a girl who's more intelligent than me. But it's not like I don't care, like it's not really part of the equation. I
feel like that's so funny because you run a podcast. Like, you must like good conversation. Don't you want to be with someone that can hold a good conversation and add something to it?
I mean, like, if I can have a conversation with her, but I don't need a girl who's like got insane charisma and can tell good stories and has a witty comeback to like everything.
Okay.
It's a very low priority.
Okay.
I don't care. I care about other personality traits. Chiefly, does she bring me peace? That's the most important thing personality-wise a girl can bring me, because I have a very stressful job. The last thing I want to do is have a girlfriend that's always wanting to argue.
Yeah.
We're always in some sort of conflict. The biggest thing a girl can bring me personality-wise is peace and calm.
You okay?
I have a brother. I love him very much. And when he tells me about what he wants in like a girlfriend or like somebody to like be with for a very long time, is just like the compassion and empathy, and like just to have somebody like to be there with him, for him, and to like support him. And just, he said, just don't make our lives hard.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think one of the reasons why women tend to want intelligent men is if you're intelligent, then you're more capable of providing provisioning. If you're intelligent, like intelligent people tend to be higher earners. Whereas like we as men, we don't really care about a woman's ambition or her success. Do you have a response? Do you have a thought on that?
No comment, actually.
Rin? Oh, she's waking up.
I just the stuff we were talking about before, like you guys had it down. That's why I didn't really say anything. But like, what were we talking about? We were talking about yeah. So a lot of men, like they want their women to help them feel more masculine. Like my dad, he likes dating girls that like he can take care of, because he feels more like, like they like feeling like men. They like feeling masculine.
And I think that plays into the fact that, men and women have different roles in life. And I think that in a perfect relationship, a man brings out a woman's femininity and a woman brings out a man's masculinity.
Okay.
So things like opening a woman's door should play into that.
Okay, but okay, so you kind of made a grimace when I said most men don't really care about a woman's ambition or her success. What, Sophia, you made a face too. What?
I don't even think that's true.
This is why I make a grimace, because one day hope to be a great wife, and I want to believe that is not true. I think that when you're born, you have somewhat of a personality, and my whole life I've been ambitious and I want big things for myself, and I look at that as a pro. So whether a man does or doesn't value that, I wouldn't want to be with a man who just wants a trophy wife. I want someone who can respect what I'm doing and care about me. I'm not just a physical object like I do. And I totally agree. The best thing in a relationship is when you bring each other peace. So the grimace comes from the fact that I don't believe that, you know, it's a turnoff for guys that I have.
I'm not saying it's a turnoff, but men don't really prioritize it.
Okay.
It can be a turnoff in the sense that if you want to be successful in business or in the corporate world, you need to cultivate a certain cutthroatness that you wouldn't otherwise need to cultivate. And we spend most of our time at work. When you start becoming cutthroat in the corporate world, in business, that's going to seep into your broader personality.
Yeah, I totally understand. I grew up with corporate parents, and my dad's an attorney. So I haven't had to be in the work world to get those things.
You mentioned attorneys. Attorneys are typically have to be very disagreeable.
Yes.
So, for example, a female attorney, she's going to have to cultivate her ability to be disagreeable because there's negotiations. There's you need to know you like very much by the rules and by the book. So it's not necessarily like you can still be very feminine and also be successful, but a lot of women who get into the corporate world become very successful.
That femininity.
They do lose a little bit of it, but the main thing that I would say to this is not so much that it's you were like, oh, well, I would hope that a guy cares about my success and ambition. All of you at this table said that you want the guy to pay for the first date. Yep. I assume you also want that guy to continue providing throughout the relationship. Men don't care about your money and your ambition and your success, chiefly because you do not share your resources with men the same way that men share their resources with women. All of you said you want the guy to pay for the first date. So we don't receive a benefit. Men don't receive a tangible benefit by your success.
I don't think that that's true at all.
All the girls here said they'd want the guy to pay for the first date.
But let's say we're married. If a man and a woman are married and a woman has income, I would hope that she helps pay some bills. And I think that that's okay. Unless the man is so stable that he can take care of both of them, or the woman is choosing to be a mother and she wants to devote her time there. Okay,
but there are definitely women that even beyond the first date still want the guy to continue paying for dates.
There are some women.
Look, I can prove it. Did you want to continue? Or?
Yeah, I think that a lot of reasonable women would say, into the relationship, if you have shown your interest in me enough, by asking me out and treating me well and putting your card down the first couple of dates, I said, I'm happy to start, paying, splitting, tipping, this, that, the other thing.
After the first couple dates?
If I know that I like you, I would love to be in a relationship where I do this for you and you do this for me.
Okay, so
I think what a lot of men have a problem with, like the boss babe thing, and why the boss babe thing isn't appealing, is because we kind of have this expectation that he should be okay with being second to a career, where like your boss that you work for will replace you tomorrow, and your man will not. I think that's what men have a very big problem with when it comes to, well, I want this high status profession. He's like, okay, well, how much am I going to matter? Because there's also been, and this would be anecdotal, right? But there's been conversations where men have asked their women to quit their jobs because it's dysfunctional with the family. There's something going wrong. And the woman says, like, no, absolutely, I will not quit my job. So you're literally choosing, your boss who would replace you over him. And that's not okay. And I don't think your job should come first as a man either. But I think oftentimes, and because family should be first, but like if you're a man and you have to deal with being in this high status profession to create that umbrella of financial security, like, yeah, it's okay if your family's on the back burner, because they're not truly on the back burner for your career. You're going through that so that you can benefit them. Like, what man wants to be second to a career? Like, these companies don't care about us. Like,
I don't think he's be second to a
really circumstantial kind of thing. And
it's not that circumstantial.
Like, I'm not second in my job. Like, I can't. No one's gonna. I mean, of course, everyone's somewhat replaceable, but it's like I feel like you're just kind of spewing like these words, but they don't really have any meaning.
So
I can give you the data.
I have a question. Is your
you.
answer to all of this that women shouldn't work, or that I should quit my job because my dad's not paying my rent? Like, someone's got to do that.
Attorney, hello.
Yeah,
no.
he raised me right. He also said,
like, first of all, you said that this is like circumstantial, right? And there's also like broad swaths of data where like these are things that are going to happen to women. They're already happening. Like when we're talking about making women equal to men in the marketplace, in the job marketplace, it sounds good. There are unintended consequences. One unintended consequence is like 50% of women are projected to be single in 2030. No, 45% of women from ages 25 to 44, right? So
because of their job?
No, because of being past the Industrial Revolution, and because of economic mobility, right? That this is the unintended consequence of the boss babe culture. That's one aspect. And then we have this other aspect, 50.1% of women in the UK are childless by age 30. That's another statistic. So like we've made it to this point where like we've made ourselves completely equal to men. And it's like, that sounds really good in theory. But if you're going to be like a mom and have children, you're going to have to make compromises and structure your life differently. And a lot of women, like, they're not getting this. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like you need to quit your job and you need to stay home, right? But we need to like plan and act accordingly. And putting a career ahead of your man is not a good way to get there, because he's probably going to need to cover you. Like a lot of this gender equality stuff sounds really cool and like all this independence. A lot of women who say this have not reproduced. I have very much needed to depend on my husband in my pregnancy, first trimester, last trimester. Any woman who's had a child knows this, but we want to pretend like it doesn't exist. And I think that the reason why we have these like made up constructs, because, you know, like everything's a social construct, is because we just are not seeing people get married and build families.
No one is pretending like it doesn't exist, and no one said that they would put their job over their husband ever.
Right.
No one said that.
Okay, like
I feel like that's another thing that you're kind of just making up. Like I bet every person
I think you have super valid points.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like every person here would say, of course I would choose my family and my husband over my job any day. And I think that your idea of this boss babe thing is like what you're making up in your head, but you're not considered a boss babe. You don't have a job. You don't, right? You don't.
I mean, I do work, but that's like, it's relative.
You know what I mean? Like,
income.
but I mean, like, you don't have like a traditional job. Like, so I feel like you kind of can't really speak on it because you're not in. I understand that you have a baby and you have a husband and you're in those shoes, but I don't think that like.
Okay.
You're trying to speak on the boss babe thing, but you don't really fully get it.
Like, I'm giving you objective truths that I can prove. I also have them on my phone. I will give them to you immediately after the show. Like, these are the consequences.
I believe you. That's okay.
These are the consequences of us putting careers ahead of men. Like, that's the
Who's
thing.
doing that?
Well, this is why.
Hold on. Like, women are putting careers ahead of men to the point that they would rather have that job than be with a man.
Then
that's
you don't have
crazy.
to do that.
Huh?
Then you don't have to do that.
Like, can you explain?
If you don't want to do that, then don't do that.
If you don't
want to put your job over your husband, then don't do that. I mean, you don't even have a corporate job. You know what I mean? And I think that you're saying, well, women do that. Where? Who? When?
This is what I'm saying. My subjective experience does not influence the numbers that I'm giving you. This is like to the point. This is the breakdown of the nuclear family. And this was all because we're talking about like careers and men taking a second seat to careers, right? This is the projection. Like, there are big banks and companies that are investing in like wine and cat food and stuff because they know that there's going to be a bunch of us that are single, right? So like what you guys are saying, your career is important. Just don't forget that your man and your family should come before it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for reinstating that, because I believe that we all agree with you, and I think that that's why we're becoming disengaged, is because we all agree with you, and there's just so much we can hear about it. We all agree with you.
Okay, let's move it along a little bit. I'll just add a couple things here. So when it comes to the employer dynamic, so a lot of women are trading. Instead of being submissive to a husband, they're going to be submissive to an employer. And